Support for this program provided by
Hello fellow wood chopperoos, Chad here, and on today's episode of Wood Chopping Time, I'm going to share with you what I think is the best and cheapest jig for your shop, and that is a bench hook. This simple jig can do a number of things and make life for you in the shop a whole lot easier. Let me show you what it can do. The bench hook is nothing more than 3 pieces of wood. I have like a chipcore plywood base here, and then a cleat on the back, and then a cleat on the other side. And what this allows me to do is actually hook the bench. So this goes to the front edge of the bench, and it acts as a back fence here to hold pieces in place for you. And so a great example of this is I use it a lot for hand cutting pieces of wood. So I'll take my square and a chip carving knife, and I'll score a line on this. I can put pressure against the board to the fence. It holds it firmly in place for me. And then I'm going to remove some waste here. What that did was it just created a shoulder for my saw to sit in. And I can use the edge of the bench hook also as a reference to help keep my saw straight when cutting this. So I didn't need a vise or anything to hold the piece. The bench hook did the work for me. Now after I cut this, I can see I'm a little bit out of square. I didn't cut it as straight as I wanted. So the bench hook to the rescue again. I'll take my block plane, turn it on its side, and I'll stick the wood out just a little past the edge here. And now I can use the bench hook as a shooting board. And the reason I don't want to go out too far, because you can see that the plane, as it comes out, it wants to splinter the wood on the end there. So I keep it real close to the edge of that back cleat, and it planes out real nice. And now I'm perfectly square. All right, the other things that the bench hook can do is, if you watched my carving video, it allows, again, for me to get in and carve the wood. I can use my hand almost as like a clamp to the back cleat, and it allows me to quickly get in, do the work, and move the piece instead of using a vise to constantly tightening and loosening it. Same thing if I'm doing small boxes or small dovetails. It allows me to place that in there, and I can use a chisel to come in and clean out the work on the dovetails. Another thing it allows me to do is when I make these raised panels, commonly I use for my shaker boxes. The first thing I have to do is on this end grain, I have to get that bevel down so I can put the workpiece against that. Again, my wrist is acting like a clamp and holding down on it, and then I can chisel that out. That roughs it out for me to get me going. And again, I like it because I don't have to use clamps. Now, I've also modified this, and so I'll flip it over. And you can see I have two cuts in here at 45 degrees. So I would just simply take a square, place my square in there, and with your saw, cut down. And now I've got a great little way to miter small pieces. And that's a whole lot safer to do with the bench hook than putting this in a big power miter saw, because the blade tends to be too aggressive and grab this and then just break it and splinter it. And then lastly, that you can see, I have this notched out. And that's mostly because when I do these raised panels, if I want to plane this smooth, what I would do is, going cross grain isn't too bad, but then when I have to go with the grain, well, this notch allows me to have the plane go all the way across, and I still have good support underneath it here. Otherwise, if I didn't have that notched out, I have to lean the board way over so it doesn't hit the back cleat, and then it just has the tendency to rock and tip. By having that notch in it, it gives it more stability. And there you are, the bench hook, the best jig you'll ever have. Well, I hope you liked this episode. If you did, please like and subscribe, and check out our other videos we have. On Monday, we spotlight what you, the woodworker, are doing in your shop. On Wednesday, I answer viewer emails, I talk about products that are out there, and I tell you what jobs I'm doing in my shop. And of course, back here on Friday for another tip or project video. So until next time, thank you so much for watching, and keep on dancing.